Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me. What's up, punters? The lads from Daft Previews are back. We're previewing round 2 of the NRL. Some of us are wearing our team colours with pride. Some of us not wearing any at all.
Broncos.
Queenslander.
4 from 4, baby. Go the Queensland teams.
Man, how good was round 1? There was like a lot of really good games.
There was I was going to say competitive games. I think apart from maybe I'm trying to think which game, really. The Dogs Manly, maybe, for the first 40 minutes, all right. But other than that, every game, there was something to play for in that last 20 minutes of 15, 10 minutes, or even last minute in some games. So it was really good.
Yeah, it was brilliant. As predicted, a lot of those games went under.
Yes.
I think 7 out of 8 went under, I think. Or potentially even 8. I don't even know. The South one was high scoring, but that was also a high line. So as predicted, a lot did go under. The refs didn't fuck the game that much, but there's a lot of talk about this HIA, this head assessment stuff. What are your thoughts on that?
Like the Ponga one, for example, it was on the ground. He was milking. I was at the Penrith game watching on my phone, and I was like, I didn't see anything like at the time because he obviously didn't have the volume on, so I didn't see it was controversial. I just saw him get taken off. I'm like, yeah, he was on the ground grabbing his head. Yeah. So I don't. And there was another one I think as well. Where I was like, he got kneed in the head or something. I can't remember what it was, but like full kneed in the head. But they're like, oh, these independent. I don't get it. Ricky Stewart Blowout was good for a laugh, I guess. He went after the RLPA, which I think is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I didn't have anything issue with it. I think like Scott Sorensen's not playing this week because of HI protocols, and I don't even recall him getting really head knock. So
yeah, it wasn't a big one, but I remember hearing that he's failed his HIA, and I was like, that was quick. Like he must have been pretty fucked up back there. So I think the reason why it's kind of blown up deluxe is some teams are missing their best players in crucial parts of the game.
Yeah.
But also because in Australia, we like to blame somebody for something. Yes. So like the media, for example, they're pointing all their fingers at the NRL. It's like, oh, they're only doing this to protect themselves from not paying people later on. I'm like, sure, that might be part of it. But the truth that you can't escape is you're protecting these people's welfare. Like, yeah. You're saving yourself, but fuck.
The amount of people coming out now who are ex-players and saying they got headaches all day, they can't remember. Like the Mario, did you ever watch the Mario Fennick documentary?
That was fucked.
That was fucked because us growing up, Mario Fennick was on the footy show. Like we were a bit young for his playing career, but we saw him on the footy show and we just they took the piss out of him and everything. And you see him then and then now, and you're like, how quickly he deteriorated. Yeah. And I know the rules are much stricter on it, because he'd get knocked out back in the day, be back on the field. But then again, I think some of the contact in the head these days are
the
way worse
these days. The game's so much faster. The players are so much bigger and stronger.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen bloody Paul Vaughton interview somebody? He was a lock. And he's as big as Adam Reynolds.
Yeah, he's tiny now. But I just think, I didn't have any problems with it. And I'll go on the record and say when it's my team and if it was Cleary in the last 10 minutes, say on Friday night, I wouldn't. It's just the way it falls. And I think, player welfare is important.
Yeah. No, it's pretty important. I don't have any issues with it either. My favorite part about it is that Ponga incident. When I watched it, I was like, oh, he's milking it here. He's milking it a bit to try to, signal to the referee I got hit in the head.
Yeah.
Right? But because he milked it, he got taken off the field. Yeah. Whereas if he just got up and kept playing, he'd be fine. So
Which is what I hope happens from here on in is these players don't try and stay down. Because they still do, even when they're coming out their own end, they'll grab their chin and get up slowly or something. Yeah, it's fine, because if it's genuine, then it still deserves time off the field. But he gets rid of that because he got caught milking it and he was filthy about it. Well, get up next time. And
that's true. Yeah. Especially with his history, right?
There's a few players. You could probably name a concussion 17 or concussion 13. Each position where you're like, that person there is 1 or 2 head knocks from retiring in every position.
Who's the captain? Is it Radley? Is it Ponga?
Nah, I feel like Kiri definitely could be skipper. That's Kiri's very close. Even Sam Walker. There's a few of them in there. Like we'll go through these teams, and I'll name. How about this? Every game we go through, I'll name a player from each team that's part of the team.
Concussion 17.
Yeah, it'd be very easy.
All right, let's do it. Firstly, let's do a very quick recap. We previewed the round last week. We landed on 4 bets, very similar. You and I, we agreed on. We went 3-1. Quickly going over it. Easiest play for me in the first game was the unders, Storm versus Eels. That pissed in. Give them all the golden points they want. It wasn't going close. So nailed that one. Warriors and Knights, I think we both just leaned on that one and didn't want to touch it.
Yep.
Panthers and Brisbane, we wanted Brisbane in the first half, plus 6.5. They went into halftime leading, I believe. So
correct, 12-6, yeah.
Absolute legends. Didn't score a try in the second half. Didn't need to. Manly Bulldogs. Picked Manly to cover there, and they absolutely blitzed them. Cowboys Raiders. I think you faded this one.
Yeah, I faded. I said I'll tip the Cowboys, but I wasn't confident because again I'm betting against. I've got both teams missing the 8, so
you hate them both.
I hate them. I just don't rate both of them. And after the weekend, I was very happy that they both played an average game, won by a point to the Cowboys. So,
sorry, we got a great comment. Well done, Hobbo. You got me. NRL All Stars versus the NRL Concussed Stars. That'll be a great showcase.
That'd be a good laugh.
Or we can put the NRL Concussed Stars against the New Zealand Maori team who will just shoulder charge everybody.
Yeah, true.
And you get unlimited 18th men on the concussion team. Head coach, the Falcon. Cronulla versus Rabbitohs. We both had Rabbitohs that cashed. Cronulla did play a little bit better than I thought they would, but that one cashed. Dolphins, Roosters. We didn't touch this one, but we said be wary. The Roosters are always shit in round 1, despite how bad the Dolphins will be. Surprise. I picked the Dolphins in another bet for them to cover the line, but didn't expect them to win, and they did.
Comfortably as well. It wasn't even like... The Roosters shot out, and you thought, all right, this is going to be over pretty quick. But then they came back and like, no, the Roosters will keep it close. They couldn't even compete with them in the second half.
I know. I've actually been wearing a butt plug since Sunday evening because the Tigers absolutely fucked me. Last leg of the multi, just had these fuckers to cover a 2.5 line. They go down to the Titans 22-10. Was our big loss of the week. So fuck the Tigers, but I'll probably back them again.
I actually was all right with that one in one sense because it did fuck up one multi, but I did do another multi. I had Brisbane handicap start, Manly cover the line, unders in the Cowboys Raiders, South cover the line, Dolphins plus 19.5, but Para fucked me up at the start of the week. So I had a 97-1 multi. Thankfully, the Tigers butchered. They would have lost by that one leg.
Jesus. Well, maybe this is your week. So let's get into this week. So once again, we'll preview every single game. We'll let you know what we're leaning. We'll let you know what the bet is if we find one. We did commit to doing at least 4 bets every single week. You don't want to be some wanker who puts out 1 bet off 8 games and celebrates it the week after. This is rugby league. We only get it for 26 weeks of the year. Let's just rip in, get engaged, get amongst it, and donate to your favorite bookie. Quick glance, quick overview. I think this is a tough round. I think this is a tough round to handicap and pick totals. But with the men that we are, we managed to still scrape 4 each. So kicking it off on Thursday night at 8 p.m., we've got the Penrith Panthers versus South Sydney Rabbitohs. The line in this one's 5.5. Total points, lowest of the round at 38.5. For South, I guess Latrell's a bit injured. Happen to take him on fantasy, but he's still going to play. But I think the biggest outs for South is in their forward pack. They're missing some grunt in the middle, where I think Penrith have a clear advantage, even when these guys are healthy. Totola and Jai Arrow both going to miss this game. So if you're starting Daniel Saluka for Fita, who could barely make the 17 of the Roosters, might be a bit of strife there. But what are your thoughts on this? You're a local Penrith boy. Your boys have lost 2 on the trot.
2 on
the exact same score.
Your money would be to take the train and back South to win by a point. Just background, you'd be hearing. This game, I haven't got a bet in terms of head-to-head, but I've gone the unders in the first half, under 18.5 points. Reason being, I think if there's one thing with Penrith, though, this season and historically at home, is they do keep it tight and they grind, and they've done that this season as well. Only being one game in for the NRL, but even in the World Club Challenge, the teams don't blow them off the park. In terms of I'm tipping Penrith, and I think they win, but I don't think they're going to click in attack yet. I think they're just going to build on their defense first. They're starting Mitch Kenny again. Last week against the Broncos, they went side to side so much, and it wasn't until Sonny Luke came on that they actually started playing through the middle and creating some chances. So I'm going to back that they're not going to panic and bring Sonny on after 20 minutes like they should have probably last week. I still think they'll keep him off. So, yeah, I'm taking the under 18.5. In terms of HR concussion teams, one of the biggest stars of the concussion teams is Cam Murray. He is a very good concussion player. He's my first pick there. The Panthers don't have his standouts, but Isaiah Yeo has had some concussions in the past. So he's my pick from that Panthers team. Special mention Spencer Linney. Last time they did play, he got murdered by that winger. But let's step that aside. But that's my two picks from that.
Okay. I don't have, I guess, a sharp handicap play on this one. Realistically, it's because I'm a bit biased. I have high hopes for South this year.
Yes.
I also suffer from tall poppy syndrome. So anyone who does very well for too long, I want them to be shit. Like I've got this hate for LeBron James. I had a hate for Penrith. I mean, for Melbourne quite a long time ago. I'm developing one for Penrith. They're just too good, and I need to see them chopped down. So I'm a bit biased in my thought process. Don't want to necessarily handicap this one, but logically, I think I've got a value play on this one. I like Panthers 1-12. You can get that for $2.90. I think you bounce back. I think you dominate in the middle. Even if your attack doesn't click, I think your defense will be enough to win this game, especially at Bluebet. So that's what I'm thinking. What do you reckon? Is that arousing or what?
That is very arousing. I like to hear that.
That's what your boy does. Getting into your filthy Friday, though, at 6 p.m., usually reserved for a stack of shit teams. You better go home early on Friday or head straight to the pub because it's the Parramatta Eels versus Cronulla Sharks. The line in this one's also 5.5. Your total points, you're looking at 40.5 in this one. For Cronulla, Nico Hines is still out. Question on Nico Hines. Did it look like they really missed him last week? Or would he have made enough difference to close that 9-point gap?
I don't think he would have closed at 9 points. I think he would have kept it closer, but I don't think he's a 9-point handicap swing player.
That's a big swing. Also, Wade Graham. How about that for the concussion team?
That's my pick. Yeah, on that. He's in there. He's going to be very tough to beat in the concussion lineups.
Yeah. Mate, talk about concussions. He's trying to give him out. How about the shot he did on the weekend?
What about everyone going? They'll talk about that. I'm like, the difference between him and Chad Townsend and Kalen Ponga was literally the Kalen Ponga won the game. It stopped. Like he literally threw kamikaze himself into the bloke's head.
Yeah, I know. It's wild. And he pled not guilty to the first charge.
Yeah.
Not guilty to reckless, mate. I was well in control. So there's Wade Graham, one of your concussion all-stars. But other than that, not many team changes. The Eels might move a winger or two. The Sharks obviously won't have Graham. This one's at PointsBet Stadium, though. What are your thoughts on this one? It's a 5.5 line. Are you playing? Are you leaning? How do you think it goes?
I'm staying away, but I'm tipping Para. The only, again, question mark with Para is they should have won that game against Melbourne comfortably last week. All the talk this week has been, who's also my concussion player from Para, is Mitch Moses. All the talk is on Mitch Moses, his contract, and I think I know they say they ignore it, but when the media constantly asking about it, I think it gets to some point where it becomes distracting.
What's the latest update on his contract, by the way?
So he was meant to, unless something's happened in the last couple of hours, he was meant to announce before. Well, he was telling everyone he wants to have it wrapped up before the season starts. So about 8 weeks ago or so, Para tabled an offer, and then the Tigers came in a couple of weeks later. Basically, Para went 4-year deal worth, I think it was 1.1 or something a year, 1.2, and then the Tigers came over the top with a 1.3 for 5 years. So a longer deal and more every single season.
Yeah.
And then they were looking at it, and the mail was that he was going to re-sign for Para because he's looking at which teams are going to comp more. And he was telling people in the trial games, Fox League, that he's hoping to have it wrapped up the next week or so. But still nothing's happened. So I don't get why there's a delay. I don't understand.
I heard that he had signed or some shit or handshake, but there's a cooling off period after you sign a contract. And apparently he's backed out throughout that cooling off period.
Imagine.
Ooh. I don't know the reasons why, but that's what I've heard.
That's juicy.
So we're going to start announcing news on top of tips.
Yeah, we are. This is NRL 360.
361, baby. Let's talk about the winner in this game and what happens. I personally don't know which way this one's going to go. I was thinking either team won a 12, but there's not much value in that. I think it's under $1.70 or something worse than that. So not going to touch that one. Cronulla are at home. Parramatta will be disappointed with how they played last week because they should have won. But this is going to be a very physical game. I was thinking unders. The under and 40.5 was probably the closest I got to picking something because I think these guys are just going to flog each other up the middle. Like, I think there's just going to be a good old flogging, nice and aggressive, and not too many points. I didn't even check the weather for that one, but it's hot as shit at the moment, thus I'm wearing a singlet. I can't see them playing expansive rugby league for a full 80 minutes. But if I was going to pick one, it's the under. Might have alternate unders if when I play a multi, but nothing solid from me. Do you have anything?
No, I'm not playing anything.
Not playing it? All right. Watch and enjoy when you get to the pub. Sink a couple of VBs. Get yourself ready for the main event. The main event of the weekend, Queensland Derby. It's the Brisbane Broncos versus the North Queensland Cowboys. The Broncos are the favourites, 1.5 points. Disrespectful. Total points, you're looking at 41.5. Reece Walsh is back for Brisbane, thank goodness. I've been arguing with Broncos fans throughout the week with people saying, why would you change a winning team? They just well, you didn't win because of Cobbo.
No.
One. He's had strong carries, but he made some dumb fucking errors. So I'm glad that he's been moved back to the wing. He'll probably still get taken in a touch, but as a winger, it's expected. As a fullback, he shouldn't be there. So happy to see Reece Walsh back. Not too many changes for the Cowboys either. So they're going with consistency, and why not? You don't like the Cowboys, so I've got a tingle that you like the Broncos in this one.
Yep. I have Broncos in my 8. I don't have Cowboys in my 8. Broncos are off to a good start as well. Yep. I've got a -1.5.
Tell me why.
I think last week your defense won you the game. You're right about Cobbo at fullback. That was their liability, and they're bringing Reece Walsh in. So you're adding attacking spark into that team. So that's a positive. Your defensive shape won't change apart from your winger, obviously. I just think, even your bench rotation, Marty Tapau, Thomas Flegler, last year, Flegler was a starting prop, and so was Marty Tapau. They're starting forwards who can't get into that starting lineup, which is a sign of depth. As I said, Cowboys, I just think they had the best run last season. To be fair, they had a good run last week getting that 1-point win, but they nearly blew the game. My 2 concussion players,
I was about to ask.
I've gone Cobbo again. He had the few concussions last year, the Origin one notably.
Origin, yeah.
And this one is a bit of sneaky because it's questionable about whether he should be in the team. And I like having those bit of controversial picks. Everyone likes a bit of a side pick, and that's Kyle Feldt.
Kyle Feldt? Yes! I knew it would be Kyle Feldt.
Yeah. He's a bit of a milkman.
He was the reason why the Hammer still had a job last year, because we knew this fucker was going to go down with something.
Yes. So Kyle Feldt is my pick for the concussion 13.
Yeah, I rate that. I'm taking the Broncos. That 1.5 line is a scam. I was thinking for the value play 1-12, but then I was also thinking 13+. But then I think about how these teams both lift when they verse each other, and I thought, let's not fuck around. So sticking with the 1-12 for the Broncos. But I think we can put on a show here. Very impressed with how everybody played. I think he's put on a bit of weight. Defensively, he's a lot stronger. Still got spark in attack. Set up that try off of Billy Walters' pass. So that was beautiful. Katoni Staggs' defense, how fucking rough was he? He was just slamming everyone. Angry little foot sucker he is. Herbie showing why the Dolphins wanted him so much. Reynolds gave us a scare after going down, but as he normally does, he gets up again. And look, the Cowboys were disappointing in the second half last week. Let's not forget that. They won the game, but they should have won it a lot easier than that. So, and they cost me, a bet at the time. So fuck them. So go Broncos. Bang. Into your slutty Saturday. Look, not the most arousing games to watch or punt on, but as devoted NRL fans and gambling addicts, we shall watch. Kicking it off at 3 p.m., we've got the Sydney Roosters versus the New Zealand Warriors. The line is 14.5 points. Totals, you're looking at 44.5 points in this one. Roosters absolutely dog shit against the Dolphins last week. I'm pretty sure we watched that car crash oh, fuck. Try to look at the lineup. This Roosters team's still good.
It's very good.
It's still very good. The Warriors got the win at home, but, first game on the road. It's a big trip. They're out at Allianz. Looking at the team changes, not too many huge ones. Outs, you got Lodge, but Joseph Manu's coming back. So that's pretty exciting for the Roosters. I don't know. I still get the feeling this is too big, but that might just be me. What are your thoughts? What's your gut say?
Yeah, my gut says it's too big, but I'm not confident enough to say it's not, because the Warriors are a team that can either lose by 1 or they could lose by 40 against these teams. Right. They did last year a couple of times. I think Melbourne put 60 or something on them. I think from them, I backed them with the start, and that was on Anzac Day.
Melbourne was clapping everyone at that time. That's like when they were guaranteed to score 40.
Yeah, so I was like, oh no, a team of troubles Melbourne is the Warriors, and nope, didn't happen. Roosters, it's a smaller line than last week against the Dolphins, and the Warriors and Dolphins I feel like a similar team. So you think, right, surely the Dolphins and the Warriors are on par. The Warriors will stick it to them, but I don't know with the Roosters. It's hard because they just haven't been convincing. For that team they've got, they're so stacked. They're just not. Something's not there. I don't know.
I think they're still missing a bit of spark around their forwards. Like Fletcher Baker he's not even as good as Mitch Barnett, right? So he's below average when you're looking at props in the competition. You got both the Butcher boys in the second row. Like Nat Butcher's good in, like, you can fill a hole if he's your shittest player in the field. Like, he'll still look good, but now he's one of the first people look at when they're looking at try scorers for the Roosters, because he had that great streak going last year. But him and his brother, look, not the strongest second row combination, I must admit. And the halves aren't running. Keary's not running. Walker's not running. So it's all Teddy. Teddy running. And look, there might be some question marks on Suwali playing center. I feel like he doesn't have the skill set to play center in attack just yet.
No.
Like, he doesn't move in tight spaces very well. Like, he's an excellent winger. Could be the best winger we have in the competition if he stayed there.
Yeah.
Just for the next few years. I think I don't know. Well, they're obviously moving him closer to accommodate him. He's resigned. Like, they want to make him happy, but I don't think that's his best position right now.
No, I agree.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do have a play on this one, though. I'm taking the Warriors in the first half to cover the line. I got it at 6.5, I believe. 6.5, 8.5, some bullshit like that. Let me quick check. 6.5. So Warriors plus 6.5 in the first half. Now, we know that the Roosters are slow starters, especially this time of the season. If they win this game, I think they pump them in the second half. And the Roosters did this a lot last year. Remember, I was playing it a lot.
Yeah.
The underdog first half, Roosters to win the second half or even the game.
Yeah.
I think we see much of the same. The Roosters could go into halftime with a lead, but I don't see it being more than a try. I think if the Warriors have a chance, they have to start well, whereas the Roosters probably know in the back of their minds, if they keep it close, they're a pretty good shot at winning this game. I also checked the previous games between these two clubs, and the Warriors have covered 6.5 in the first half in 4 straight games against the Roosters. Regardless of the end result, they cover that first half 4 times in a row. So I'm taking them. I like the Warriors team. They've got a lot of solid players. I think that's where they've got more depth in terms of just being more solid. Like, Chan's actually played very good last week.
Yeah.
Most of their backs played quite strong. Sean Johnson's still Sean Johnson, but Tamara Martin, he's a good ball runner. They still got strong props. Barnett's prop, Vanilla Blake. Wade Egan was great last week, actually. When he came off with the fucking HIA, I was like, oh no, the Warriors are cooked. But he came back. I think he scored the last try, right?
He did.
He
loves a little crack from dummy half.
Yeah, Jackson Ford was excellent. Tohu Harris is healthy. And Nia Corey, he didn't play that good last week. I know that because I have him in my fantasy team, but I think, there's still room for him to grow if he stays there. And their bench is pretty good. Curran, Afoa, and Walker. Most rugby league fans know who those players are. You're fucked when your bench is full of people that you don't, and you're questioning, who is this guy?
True, but they're the Warriors. That's my worry.
They are the Warriors. That's true.
And my concussion team, obviously, the Roosters stacked with star concussion players. But I got to take Kiri because he literally sat out basically half a year, a couple times now because of this. Warriors one again, a bit of a different angle. Might not be concussion related, but I think it could be one day tested when they go back. And it's Tamari Martin with the brain.
I was thinking
brain. Yeah, I think that one's going to come back to head knock. So.
Yeah.
Fine. An immortal, they will say. They'll go back on his career and go, he's an immortal concussion player.
Well, yeah. Well, the Roosters, their whole club is littered through them, right? You got Friend, you've got the bum chin. They're in the Hall of Fame.
Do you look at them now? Because people think, they're just unlucky. Do you look at them like I do now and go, what are they doing at training to have
technique?
There's a technique. It's the way they coach, the way they play. Yeah. They seem to have more HIAs, more busted knees, more, you name it, injuries. They get more than any other club.
Well, yeah. Well, I think they have a higher expectation in terms of contact and physicality in comparison to a lot of other clubs. And if you watch the way that they play, and because I watch every single game religiously, you'll have teams like the Broncos, for example. We don't get many concussions, right?
Yeah.
And if you watch it, we always have someone tackling around the legs or like you're going to the side of the person, like hugging the hips or something. And you're expecting it's a two-man tackle so the second person goes up top to slow them down or carry it, right?
Yeah.
The Roosters, you can argue a much better defensive team. They actually, the first hit is up high. So it's like they pride themselves on stopping that person themselves.
Yeah.
And I think they've had that as part of their team for a very long time. It could be in Robbo's strategy. They get their head in the wrong position a lot, but they also do a great job of stopping people, right? Yeah. Whereas they commit to tackles very well. Unfortunately, they're putting their head in the wrong spot. That's my uneducated opinion. I think Victor Radley could probably make the bench of that team, but you could also have even Brandon Smith. He loves a good concussion too.
Yeah, he does. He's a good pick.
Yeah.
There's honestly even like Walker. Walker is good for a concussion. The whole team is, to be fair. Tedesco nearly died against Sevo a few years ago. Teddy during Origin as well.
Origin, yeah.
He got cussed in the first few minutes and we lost that game. But there's a few.
He loves a concussion in the big moments, you see. He's a clutch concussion
He's a big game player.
Big game player.
LeBron. But it's good because the next couple of teams are going to be tough. Like the Dolphins
We'll find someone.
Speaking
of the Dolphins, that's our second game on Slutty Saturday. It's at 5:30. They got a 5.5 start against the Canberra Raiders. The total point line's 41.5 in this one. Having a quick look at the team list. Ray Stone is out, which hurts my fantasy team. Hurt his knee, but he kept playing, which was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And Jordan Rapata, no surprise, he's out. We knew he was going to get suspended. He fucking should. He's already been copped twice. He's had one round, and he copped it in the preseason. Now he's copped another one here. What is wrong with this bloke?
He's a dirty player.
He's disgusting. But look, outside of that, not too many team changes. Canberra played one great half last week, shit in the other. The Dolphins played a real solid game. They kept it close in the first half, dominated the second half. They had good possession. The crowd was up them. It was happening. Those Melbourne Storm players were crying after the game. But look, tough game to pick. I personally got nothing. I've got nothing in this one. What have you got?
Yeah, I've got nothing because the Dolphins surprised. If the Dolphins got flogged last week, I would take Raiders -10, -11. But I just don't know. Yeah, I just don't know which way to lean with this game. I think, again, Canberra I don't rate. I don't think they can play 80 minutes every week. So there's going to be points where they just go shit the bed and then you let the Dolphins back in. So Yeah, I can't. I'm tipping the Raiders, but it's not with confidence because, again, I tipped against the Dolphins last week and that blew up in my face. Like, I just look at the Dolphins and the depth, just like Milford 21, Cody Nicarima. These are players who just can't make a first grade team. They got some guy called JJ Collins. I've never heard of him in my life. He looks like a player who's literally playing B grade. But he probably
he's an NPC. That guy.
If he's listening, shout out to you, JJ Collins. But it's just I just can't. I can't look really past anyone.
Yeah,
I've got in terms of concussion. Corey Haruyanara is a.
Oh yeah,
he loves it.
He gives them and gets them.
He gives them and gets them. That's what I like about him. Yeah. But from the Dolphins, obviously your boy Kafusi can give them in a dirty way, the old flying elbow. But he doesn't cop them as much.
Tom Gilbert cops a bit.
Tom Gilbert is probably the one I was looking at as well. He's probably the one from
because he plays angry. Like he played pretty bad last week. He made a lot of errors, but he was just playing so angry.
Yeah,
throwing his head at everyone. He should be, $1.50 odds to get HIA this week, I reckon.
Yeah, it's a good bet. It's a good bet. That's probably if there was a bet, I'm betting it. There you go. How do you see this game?
I've got no idea. Like, I think could be a letdown spot. There's nothing bigger than that Dolphins game last week. That's probably the biggest game they're going to play all year, unless they have a chance to make the 8 or something. Or it's against Brisbane. But that game last week, the crowd, everyone was all over it. The hype. They could be due for a letdown. It is another game at Redcliffe though, so. But at the same time, it's not going to compare to last week. So, and I think there might be more of an expectation on them to do better. Whereas in reality, I don't think 5.5 is a fair line. Like, imagine if everything went to script and the Dolphins lost by 14 points to the Roosters last week. No one gives a shit. That's what we expected.
Correct.
The line would not be 5.5 against the Raiders.
No.
So I think there could be an overreaction to the win last week in terms of these betting lines. So I think this might be one to just watch and wait and see how that line moves. So, but yeah, I've got nothing on it. Let's get into probably a good game. There's a good team playing in this one. Melbourne Storm versus Canterbury Bulldogs. 7:35's kickoff. The line in this one is 7.5. Total points 39.5 in this one. Big outs. Cam Munster gone with that after the finger banging he gave out. So he's missing. The Bulldogs aren't missing anyone, even though a couple of players deserve to be dropped after last week's effort. But yeah, the line in this one 7.5. So it's more than a try here. But it is at Amy Park. Bulldogs seemed very clunky last week. Combinations were not good. Reid Marnie was probably their best player, but still, it's not good. Kick out. They don't know how to use the bloke. Matt Burton's lost. Josh Adokar doesn't do anything but chase kicks. Like I don't know about this Dogs team right now. I do know something about the Storm, but I think you know the same thing. What are your thoughts?
I've gone Storm minus 7.5. I know they're missing Munster. I just think what they proved last week, even without Pappenhausen, who, mind you, is probably going to be my concussion player for the Melbourne Storm, they still put it together and beat Para when they shouldn't have had no right to beat them. I think the Dogs are a long way. I think the preseason hype, the overhype was real. They're nowhere near a ready team to even challenge for the 8. No halfback. They're just like Kyle Flanagan is not a halfback. That's the problem.
What is he then?
He's a reserve grader. Like he's not. He's just. He cannot. And I look back and remember when he was at the Roosters and they were scoring points and he was killing it and they dropped him. And everyone at the time was like, how can you drop the kid? He's like, it was a lead point scorer, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
And Robinson, said, no, we need to look after him, which basically was code saying he's being covered here and carried. He's not playing that well at all. And then people started talking about, defensively misses tackles. And then he never really has been back in a team consistently. And he's just lucky that there's no halfbacks at the Bulldogs because there is that young kid, though. I can't remember his name now, but he played New South Wales Cup last week for the Dogs and put on a clinic, apparently. But he's very
the guy from Brisbane.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is him. So I think at some point the Dogs have just got to put him in. If they get flogged this week, Just throw the kid in there because what's the difference? They're getting flogged anyway. Give him a crack. So
and Flanagan should get his passport ready because the Super League's his only option.
Super League's left after this. But yeah. Pappenhausen's my Melbourne player, and I'm probably going to go. Reed Marnie's good for a head knock. I know he failed a couple last year, so I'd probably go Reed Marnie, the little fella, as my concussion. Yeah.
Yeah, but outside of that, a lot of these Dogs players don't put their body on the line. Like, they don't get many.
No. So this is his Parramatta form.
Yeah. Whereas in Melbourne, Pappenhausen definitely up there. Xavier Coates loves it. As a winger, he gets concussed quite a bit. And a lot of the time, he's smashing his head into the ground.
Yeah. Hughes is good for a head knock.
Hughes is good for
Corey. See, back on the last Corey,
Christian Welch loves him.
Nearly murdered him that year at Cam. Remember, he full apologised to him. He went past.
Yeah.
He got sent off. Welch loves one. Loves getting his head in the wrong spot. There's plenty of depth in that team.
Yeah. Well, look, they're a great defensive side. They put their body on their line. You got a lot of good options to choose from there. Look, it's a tough choice when you pick that top 17 or after you get this top 30 sorted. But I'm also on the Storm in this -7.5 at home. Last week's game against Parramatta was so much harder in comparison to what they're going to face this week. No Munster, I get that, but Jerome Hughes can do more. And you know that. You watch the games, and a lot of the time he'll sit back and wait. They take turns. Whoever's feeling it, they go that way, right? Jerome Hughes can play both sides of the field if he wants. Harry Grant can do even more. He's young. He looks old, but he's young. He's excellent. So I think their spine will step it up. Nick Meaney's improved. We knew he'd take his game to another level in Melbourne. I'm confidently taking Melbourne Storm -7.5 in that one too. For my value play, I'm going to take Melbourne 13+ to go with my Panthers 1-12. That is $2.55. Let's get it. Now into your seedy Sunday. We're hoping by now your multis are still alive, the Anaconda's still slinging, and you're just riding these last two bets. First one, we head back to Leichhardt. It's the Tigers versus Newcastle Knights. The line's 2.5. Total points, you're looking at 42.5. Both teams quite disappointing last week. I'll start with that. I personally wanted to lean towards the Tigers in this one. Just let me check my bloody sports bet right now, and I can tell you if I did. I didn't, but I almost did. And the reason why, the Tigers showed me quite a few things that I liked last week. The main problem is they just couldn't hold the ball. The fact that they got Clemmer passing the ball, it looked terrible. But it just shows you how expansive they're willing to go. Whereas the Tigers evolved for the last few years with Madge. They were boring as batshit. There was like 5 forwards or Nofaluma straight hitting it up, and then Brooks putting up a terrible kick or Dewey just bombing it, no kick chase, like all the little things that are important in winning a rugby league game. They didn't even try to do. They're just playing footy and not doing it with freedom. So they're just getting murdered every week. Whereas now they're playing with some freedom, but it's as if there's some structure. Like everybody's on the same page. The fuckers just keep dropping the ball. But I think where they went wrong last week is they kept dropping the ball, making errors. The Titans had a lot of possession, so the Tigers were tackling. They finally got the ball and they wanted to move it. It's like, you're too tired, you fuck. Do a couple normal sets.
Settlers, they call them.
Yeah, do some settlers, play for some field position, and then when the time's right, move it. Because I reckon they could have scored that way, but I think they were chasing points, so they were pushing it a bit too much. I don't see them chasing too many points against the Knights, but didn't pick them. But that's where I was leaning. What are your thoughts on this?
I've tipped the Tigers because they're at home, but I have no confidence in them. This could be a 1-point game. This could be a blowout. Knights could win the game.
Tigers could be an unders game. It could be
Tigers again. Similar Dogs were hyped up so much, and they were fucking awful. Appy Coruscant, they said he wasn't fit enough. Mate, he's your best fucking player and captain. They benched him and they took him off with 10 to go. For me, it could look like a couple of things for Appy. Like, he just isn't as motivated to play the Tigers. He's got his bag, but how's a captain on a back-to-back premiership winning team plus World Cup campaign come in not fit? It's bizarre to me. So I'm not super confident going each way. I am confident, though, about the concussion player selection here. That's Callum Ponga. He's straight into that team. Very hard to stop his form. The other one, I'm torn between two players. One is more recent. Sean Bloor went down, failed HIA, literally 6 minutes or 10 minutes into the season last
He was
week.
on my fantasy team too. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, Isaiah Papali'i is also good for a HIA as well. But I think Sean Bloor gets the nod in my team.
Beautiful. Yeah, a bit of an unpredictable one on this one. So, you happy to jump into the last?
I've just got actually. I do have one play on this game though, because again,
let me hear it. Tell me why.
Under 42.5. The reason being, again, I don't think either team's great. They're not connecting. Adam Dewey's goal kicking is fucking awful.
I know.
I think Knights also struggled to kick straight as well against the Warriors, I believe. I might be wrong on that one. No, Hastings is kicking now, but I'm just not convinced about this team.
All right, fuck them. Let's get in the last. We've got the St. George Dragons versus the Gold Coast Titans.
What a game.
I'm surprised this one's... Oh, actually, it is at 6.
This should have been the 6 o'clock Friday
on
game.
Friday, yeah. 6 o'clock on Friday. You head into the bottle-o. You don't have time. You just check the score. You don't really watch it. But, yeah, look, it's almost a pick 'em. The line's 1.5 in this one. Dragons are slight favourites. Total points you're looking at, I think it's 40.5 or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Look, first showing for the Dragons. They have Ben Hunt in their team, so that means they're a chance. The rest of the team's still pretty average. Ravalawa drops the ball all the time, probably get a sin bin. Zach Lomax makes it all about himself. Tyrone Sloan is in his head. Francis Molo's already got his bag. Mbai's overpaid. Blake Laurie's probably eating right now. Ben Murdoch-Masila is a try-scoring machine, but he's starting. He shouldn't be starting. He's an impact player. Jaden Sewer, he's over the hill. He hit his peak very early. Jack Bird's probably get injured halfway through. So not looking good on the outlook for the Dragons for this game already. But when you look at the Titans, Dave Fafita's re-signed, so that's good for the club. For some reason, Kieran Foran's been lined up to play, but he could barely fucking walk at the end of that game.
Especially with his history. As soon as I said that, that's him going for the year. There's not a chance.
You got to cotton wool that bloke. You got to treat him like Turbo. You paid him so much money.
I can't get over that he's named. There's no way he plays. If he plays, that bloke's recovery from injuries is he's injected himself or something.
Yeah, well, they've got to test him. They do have Jaden Campbell off the bench. You notice when Foran came off, Jaden Campbell still play. He played 6. He didn't swap with AJ.
Yeah, I did notice that. And that was my big piece on them. Like, where do you play both of them? I thought when Foran got injured, that was perfect for Campbell to go to fullback and Brinson to 6.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting, but we'll see. But I can't see Kieran Foran finishing this game. He just can't escape trouble. But at the same time, the Titans are a bit more dynamic in attack. Defensively, they're probably just as frail as the Dragons are, but they do have the younger team, the hungrier team. But we'll see. They are at Nostrada Jubilee, so not at home in the Goldie. So we'll see what's happening. Do you have a play on this game?
No, I've got my 4 plays already. I just can't. This is first look at the Dragons. The Dragons on paper look okay, but they just play so shit. I'm so happy Aaron Woods is at jumper 22. They've got a criminal at jumper 21.
I'm pretty sure he'll be commentating on this game.
Yeah, he'll be shitting on his own team on Triple M. But for me, I can't lean either way. I will be tipping the Titans. Just on the back of last week and the fact that Foran is named. If Foran's playing, I'll definitely take them. But if he's not, then I may switch to the Dragons because I think he does steer that team around. Yeah. And from a concussion point of view, though, this again is a bit of a tough one. I think Jaden Sewer's had a couple head knocks.
Yeah.
He's probably the one. Him or Jack Bird. I feel like Jack Bird.
Yeah, Jack Bird's always got. I feel like he spends more time with the trainer than anyone else.
Yeah.
But it's as if he's like all fucked up. The trainer comes to see him and he's telling the trainer to fuck off.
Yeah,
He's always like, oh, like he's an attention seeker or something.
Yeah, I think he's milking it. So I'll go Jaden Sewer. From the Titans though, this is even trickier for me. Joe Simpson,
they don't tackle.
Joe Simpson had a couple back in the day at the Dogs and Melbourne, so probably gonna take Joe Simpson there. It's not the strongest.
Yeah. You wouldn't start him. You wouldn't start him in your 13, Joe Simpson, but I think he'll make the squad. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah.
No, I'll agree. Those are good selections. I do have a play on this one. I've taken the Titans to cover the line, although the Tigers dropped the ball a lot last week, but at the same time, the Titans didn't have to capitalize on that, and I thought they did. They had some pretty good sets. Tanner Boyd, I think, is showing that he's well ahead of that fucking Beavis and Butthead looking guy in the pecking order who they have last year. Sexton.
Toby.
So Tanner Boyd, he's looking pretty good. Very undersized, but still quite good. Kieran Foran there somehow. But yeah, the Titans were all right last week. So I'm picking the Titans to cover this 1.5 purely because I think the Dragons are dog shit. Like, I'm more shitting on the Dragons, if anything. And I've also taken the value play on this one. I've taken the Titans to win and over 40.5 points at 375.
Nice.
So my 3 value plays, the Panthers won a 12, Melbourne Storm 13 plus, and the Titans to win and over 40.5 points. That's only $27.73. So might put a couple of grand on it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But look, that kind of wraps up our review for the preview for the round. Some very exciting stuff happening here. As always, for our dedicated listeners and watchers and Discord members, I'll have your same game multis out for every single game. We did go 7 from 8 last week before getting upset by the Tigers to finish it off. We will also, well, I will also have the old Conda slanging. So get your bonus bets, keep one in your back pocket because I am a fucking wizard, right? This is a tough round to pick, but I just fucking understand rugby league, mate. I just understand the white lines. I'm all about that life.
The same promo is back for Sportsbet this week, the same game multi one. So that's pretty cool.
It's like, is it really?
Yeah. Second chance.
They must have made heaps of money.
Well, like things like the Dolphins, like the upsets, the Brisbane Panthers won. People would have just had like Penrith cover line.
Yeah,
1,000 try scorers, like those kinds of games. The unders would have fucked a lot of people as well. Same game multi usually a try scorer favors, but
it is.
Yeah, same thing. 1 per match, free refund on bonus bets. So
yeah, and look. So everybody watching, this is another reminder. Stop doing try scorer bets, right?
Yeah,
it's the biggest scam that I've ever seen, but it's probably like 90% of the NRL bets the bookies cop. So they're going to keep feeding us these promos and offers because of it. Like, some people are going to hit it, and it's going to look amazing, right? But I fucked around with a few try scorers. I had bonus bets to burn. I played with a couple of try scorers. I think from all the try scorers I picked last week, I picked some in most games. I probably picked about 8 to 10 try scorers last week. I don't think I got any to score. None. I got nothing.
I did a couple. I don't think I got any, actually.
Yeah. It's an absolute fucking scam. Even if you're confident in picking certain try scorers, all you have to do is simple calculation of what the true probability is, convert that to the actual odds that they're giving you, and it's dog shit. You got someone like Alex Johnson, right? He's less than $2 to score a try every week, right? Mm-hmm. Which means he's 50. It should be 50%. He doesn't even score 50%. Some of those games he scores 5 tries. It blows out his total, so he might average 1 a game.
Yeah,
but there's so many games where he doesn't score a try at all. So don't get duped, lads. Don't get duped. If anything,
be better, boys. Be better.
Just $10 on a first try scorer. That's
what I was going to say. I think first try scorer is where the fun and the value is because it's worth it. Like,
you nailed a first try scorer last week, right?
Yes, I had. Who did I have last week? I can't remember which one first.
I don't remember. A few people nailed them. Those are fun and exciting. If you got some spare cash, throw it at that. I don't mind that. But trying to pick 2-3 try scorers in one game, you're fucking kidding yourself.
For the odds you get, it's shit. Like, it needs to be better odds to be worth it.
Absolutely. All right, Luke, I appreciate you as always. We'll be back at the same time next week. Thanks for everybody if you tuned in. Chat very active as fuck, so thank you all. Hope you guys like the Luke's Top 17, the whole concussion team. We might have a different team to announce next week, or we might make amendments to the current team that we have. If Luke's effort, you might get if he's bothered, you might get the graphics out, you might get the headshots of the players, and we can make changes to your concussion 17 based on how the week goes. Who knows? That's up.
I'll post for 17 in Discord because I got to include a Manly player who makes up number 17. So
that's true. Who from Manly loves a good concussion?
Manly's a tricky one.
Lachlan Croker gets a few. I might be swayed by he got one last week. He gets a few.
Morgan Harper when he plays against
Morgan Harper. Yeah, but he's not even a Manly player. He just wears the uniform sometimes.
He's an imposter.
Probably
Lachlan Croker as you go.
Yeah, he's pretty good though. Good player. Head in the wrong spot. Anyways, lads, you guys have a wonderful evening. Luke's going to get this up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. He'll do all that shit for us. So thank you, Luke. We'll see you all next week. Now, ta-da, motherfuckers.
Sub to the channel because your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the